All right, I'm gonna hit some of you guys dead in the chest today, I'll tell you that. With what I'm gonna bring, I'm very excited. I live for speaking, empower, motivating, inspiring everybody. But before I get started, I first want to thank the DC Market Council, all of you, Jenna for introducing me, Greg, for inviting me to be here today. I'm humbled, I feel honored, I feel privileged to be able to come from New York in the worst storm we probably had in a while to get here. But thank you, all of you guys, thank you so much. I want to start with this. This is not about David Atkins. This is not about Team Beachbody. This is not about Maura. This is about you. And I know each and every one of you to get here probably had to go through some trials and tribulations to get here to make it, whether kids were sick, maybe it was travel arrangements, a multitude of reasons. But you had the reason to be here. You had the vision to be here. You had the belief to be here. And I truly believe that it's a live event, because it was for me, that made the difference in my life as a coach. Because it was Summit 2013 that was my aha moment. So I want to tell you that I believe in all of you. I love all of you. And I know each and every one of you, no matter where you are right now in your business, a day-old coach or a 7-year-old coach, because some of us veterans here have been around for a while, it doesn't matter. You can get to where you want to be. Because it was only a few years ago that I remember that having a conversation with my wife, Kristen, because we were over $100,000 in debt. And we both had good jobs. At the time, I was an investigator, which is our detectives with the state police. We both had 6-figure incomes, but we were living paycheck to paycheck. And we were struggling, and we were stressed out about groceries, and how are we gonna get by, and when is your holiday check coming in from the state police, and how are we gonna pay these credit cards and student loans. But I remember sitting down with her at the table, and I remember telling Kristen that this coaching thing can change our life. This coaching thing, I believe now that I am in better shape and I've lost 20 pounds of P90X and I was no longer on high blood pressure medications, this little thing behind a computer at a desk, this is our answer. And I know she wanted to believe me, but I know at the same time, she probably had her hesitations, as many of you probably have with your significant others or spouses, or maybe it's yourself. But if it wasn't for the vision, if it wasn't for the belief, if it wasn't for the way that I felt and I had that projection that this can change our life, I would not be here today. My wife, Kristen, wouldn't be here today as a 6-star diamond, one-time elite coach. We wouldn't be debt-free, but it started with the vision and belief. It started right there. So you have to do me a favor after you leave here today. You cannot leave here the same. So I'm not here to inspire you. I'm not here to motivate you. We're here to empower you. I want your family to see a person in you that they've never seen before. I want your coach to see an upgrade in you that they've never seen before. I want your upline to see what they've seen and want you to come back to these live events that they've never seen before, because you can have what you want, be what you want. Okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. By a show of hands, how many of you can say right now, with 120% confidence, you are where you're not where you want to be right now in your business? Okay. I am telling you are where you are because of who you are. No, David, you don't understand. I want to be an elite coach. I want to make 6 figures. I want to be a Success Club All-Star legend, but that's what you say with your mouth. That's not who you truly are. Raise your level of consciousness. Self-audit yourself. You are where you are because of who you are and the actions that you take every single day. I I remember when I had the flip of the switch and all of a sudden I said, what class, what event do I need to go to? What book do I need to read? What objections do I need to handle? What workout do I need to do? I remember taking 100% ownership in my business to be successful, but right before that, I remember waiting to be freed. I remember waiting to be freed from my coach to tell me what I need to do to be successful. I remember waiting to be freed from my upline to tell me what do I need to do to be successful. Waiting to be freed of how do I handle the objections. Waiting to be freed, waiting for permission for them to tell me what I need to do. And finally, through my faith, through my personal development, through my growth, I realized, David, they didn't need to free you, you needed to free you. And some of you right now, I know because I was there. Some of you right now have to realize that if you continue to play that victim mentality for the rest of your life, you don't know when your last day on this earth will be, and you may be held hostage by yourself for the rest of your life. You need to free yourself. When I was 12 years old, I loved the game of baseball. I played it each and every day of my life. While I had dreams and goals and visions of being a Major League Baseball player. And I remember I wanted to get a batting cage in my backyard, like the batting cage with the pitching machine. And I remember going to my mom and dad, and I remember saying, Mom, Dad, I want this pitching machine. I want this batting cage. And they're like, Dave, you know how expensive that is? That's a few $1,000s. But I had the vision early on, and I knew that this is something that I wanted, and I wrote this letter to my mom and dad, and I said, just a little bit. I remember saying to my mom and dad, and I wrote this letter, I, David Atkins, say, I can save up for a pitching machine, I believe in myself, signed David Atkins. So at that time I said, what do I need to do? What can I do at 12 years old? So I got a paper route. And in Long Island, where I grew up, it's Newsday, and I had the milk crate, and I tied the rope on, and every single day I showed up and I delivered that newspaper. Every single day, in the rain, in the snow, whatever it was, I consistently showed up at 12 years old. Every single day, once a week, I'd have to go and collect the money, and people would tell me no, and people would tell me to come back, and people wouldn't answer the door. And very early on in life, I realized that you're going to have trials and tribulations. You're going to get rejection. You're going to have a vision. You're going to have to continue on, thank you, each and every day of your life if you want to, in fact, achieve something. And after 1 year, I saved up and I bought that batting machine and that pitching cage. And I had it in my backyard. And I told my mom and dad, I said, I believed in myself. I had the vision. And little did I know early on in the process of life, as things go on, I'm going to continue to share with you, it started with the vision, but early on I have to realize we're going to get knocked down. It's going to rain on you. You're going to have thunderstorms. People are going to tell you no. But if you free yourself and you're willing to continue, you will be successful in this business. A few years later, I wanted to do more in my life. I wanted to continue more. I wanted to make an impact. I enjoyed the opportunity to be significant in other people's lives, and I had a goal at the time to be a lifeguard. And Long Island, the way Long Island is broken down, the North Shore is the Long Island Sound, the South Shore is the ocean. So I said, I'm going to start off and be, it's called a still water lifeguard. That's in the Sound, it's calm water, it's not rough. And I took that test and I failed 3 times. But I knew from when I was 12 years old, you can never give up. You can never stop what you're doing. You need to be persistent, you need to be consistent, you need to embrace the struggle. And I finally passed that lifeguard test, and I was a lifeguard on the Long Island Sound for 3 years. Around the 3rd year, I'm on the beach on the ocean. My grandpa is there, and it's a very rough day on the ocean. And the waves are crashing, and the lifeguards, one after the next, are rescuing people. And I remember my grandpa looking at me, and I'm sitting here, the water's here, my grandpa is kind of like at my 2 o'clock, police language, so 2 o'clock. And he's like, David? And I said, yeah, and he goes, those are the real lifeguards. And I knew at that moment, he meant good. So that's it, I need to be an ocean lifeguard. And through connections of a family, the top beach in Long Island is Smith Point County Park. Any people there from Long Island? So, I'm sorry, this thing is falling here. So, Jones Beach is a big state beach, but I knew Smith Point County Lifeguard. Nobody's ever drowned there. When they compete national, they are in the top coaches in the country. And through a family friend, they knew the chief of lifeguards. I called him up, got the guts to do that. Called him up and said, you know, Chief, I wanted to be an ocean lifeguard. And he said, David, if you want to be an ocean lifeguard, you need to come here in the morning before your regular shift. You need to train with my guys. Okay? Scared, didn't know what to expect. 140 pounds soaking wet, wasn't that big of a guy. Wasn't a horrible swimmer, but wasn't a great swimmer. So I went that morning, and what they do every morning before the daily workout is they do a standard workout. And we would run in the top part of the beach where the sand is thick, and we'd run in the thick sand and your ankles are falling, and we'd run a mile and a half down, and then we'd stop, we'd turn around, and then in single file, they called it the train or Indian run, they called it at the time, single file all the way back in the deep sand. The person that's last would sprint to the front of the line, and then the next person in the last would sprint to the front of the line. You would do that all the way back for another mile and a half to 3 miles. Then when you got there, I'm like, okay, are we done now? Because like I can't feel my legs. Like we all normally run on the beach near the hard sand, and we run at the top. So no, now we do Dooney entries. I'm like, Dooney entries? So they said Dooney entries are, see that gigantic dune that's like as tall as that ceiling? I'm like, yeah. They said, well, we run up the dune, we run around the back of the dune, and then see that buoy past the breaker line that's like 50 yards out? We break through, dive through the waves, we swim around it, we come back and we do 3 loops. And I'm like, what? And then we start our work day. So I did that. Felt like I was going to throw up, kind of like the end of the first time you do Insanity, right? And I did it, and I showed up every day. And then came the time to take the lifeguard test. And I'll never forget this day, because I'm driving, and I pull up into the parking lot. I can't see the ocean, but I hear the roar of the waves. And I'm like, please, God, no. Like, the last thing I need is to have to take this lifeguard test that's about 4 hours long, and for it to be a rough day because it's going to be the worst. And I walk up over the dune, and the ocean is like this. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, because everything you do for rescues, long distance swim, it's beyond where the waves break. And you go up, and now I'm scared. I have fear. How am I going to handle this? They go up, they check you in, they take a black permanent marker, they write it on your shoulders with your number, right? The water, it was early in the season, it's freezing cold. The way you get warm in the ocean after you dive in and get wet, you literally roll in the sand that's hot to keep your body warm. And then they pair you up with somebody. Now remember, I'm about 140 pounds maybe, and they pair you up with somebody because you rescue, you're the victim with that person at times when you swim out, and they rescue you and you reverse it. And this is kind of funny, but they pair me up, and here's me, and the guy I get paired up with looks like this. And I'm like, you've got to be like, this guy? Like, I'm done. And I had the fear. And the first part is the bear chest crawl. You put the guy, you rescue him, you have him on your hip. For those that know the side stroke, you have your arm up and over them, and you rescue him in. So he swims out. Basically, you're next to each other. He's the victim first. He swims out. Once he's about 10 yards in front of me, they blow the whistle for me. His job is to get out to that buoy that's beyond the breaker line. I'm right behind him. If you stop stroke once, you're out. You have to take them. You have to put your arm around them. You have to swim them in. And when you get to, I don't know if this is, oh, it is. When you get to, go back. When you get to like here, you then have to take the person, put him on your back so their arms are over your arms, and his arms are hanging like this, and now you have him hanging, and you gotta walk him up the beach, take a knee, roll him over, and get ready to do CPR. So I'm trying to time it, the waves are crashing, I don't know how. I lift the guy, I get him down, I put him down. Time to switch. You have no time. You put him down, whistle blown, I'm swimming out. He swims out, he gets into about here, bringing me in. Wave comes, knocks me down. Wave comes, drops me. Wave comes, drops me. Puts his hand up, I quit. He's done. That day, 70-something guys took that test and under 10 passed. And I was one of the under 10. This is my message with this. My message is this. You have to face your fears. If you're not willing to face your fears and embrace the struggle and get out of your comfort zone, you're not going to get anywhere in life. And I heard Chris Downing say at Leadership, fear is false evidence appearing real. It's an illusion. We all have it, I have it, but you have to be willing to face your fear. Freshman year in high school, go to the University at Albany, and we're playing around in the dorm room, playing with some other guys. I end up banging my head against a concrete cinder block wall. Excuse me. And I'm lying there and I'm hurting, and I remember this one person come over with ice, comes to help me. And I met him at the time, and his name was David Brinkerhoff. Goes by Brink. And he helped me that day. We immediately connected, became friends. And Dave and I started doing everything together. We roomed together sophomore year, pledged the fraternity together, Sigma Alpha Mu. We were Sammy brothers, went through that craziness together. Can't believe we went through that. Did some of that nonsense, but we did. Pledged the fraternity together. We wanted to be EMTs together so we can ride the volunteer ambulance corps. So we became EMTs together, and not even did we become EMTs together, the standard protocol is 3 people in an ambulance to go to a call. But we knew that if he took extra training and I took extra training, they let us just do it together, and there with him and I, like literally like Friday nights, we'd be riding the ambulance, answering calls. We became the best of friends. I started working at security at Macy's, because I started at that time knowing I wanted to get into law enforcement, desire to help people, desire to do more. And I got Dave a job, Brink a job at Macy's as well. So we worked at Macy's together. We then had the goals and dreams to get into law enforcement at the same time. We knew we rode the ambulance together, we pledged a fraternity together, we lived together, we got a house together junior and senior year in Albany. We took the state police exam. Now the state police in New York, very paramilitary, and I can tell you that we go through about 3,000 applicants to get 100 qualified troopers to be accepted to the academy. And we took the test, and as no surprise, we scored 1/10 of a point apart. We went through the processing, and we both got accepted to the same academy class, November 2nd, 1998. We went to the academy, and we graduated, and we finished the academy. We got assigned to different areas, still within driving distance, different areas. We both got married. I got married to Kristen. He got married to his wife, Barb. We were in each other's wedding parties. Everything together. He was my second brother. But what can we do more? Dave, what can we do more? How can we make a bigger impact? And we thought about making the state police, doing the state police SWAT team. At the time, before the next tryout, I made investigator, which is our detectives, and I'm no longer allowed to try out. 2003, I was trooper of the year. 2009, I was investigator of the year. Because I learned, guys, you can't accept your life for where it is. You gotta lead your life. If you wanna live to the fullest potential, it's on you. Don't be looking to your left and right to get permission from other people to achieve your goals. If you want something, wake up and rise and grind. I've learned that through my entire life, through the state police, through coaching. So as much as I didn't get to try out for the SWAT team, Dave did try out and he made the team. No surprise to me. 2006 was a very rough year for the state police into 2007. We lost a couple of troopers that were shot and killed. We had many troopers that were shot. It was a very rough year. And on April 24th, I'll never forget, another trooper was going up to a car, a guy that was acting suspicious in the deli parking lot. He approached this guy, and little did he know that that guy had a warrant for his arrest, but the trooper didn't know. And the trooper pulled the gun out, not the trooper, the bad guy pulled the gun out, and he shot the trooper, who lived. And the guy took off, and a massive manhunt started. It's a picture of Dave and I and his wife, and then Dave was a trooper at graduation. So on April 24th, This goes on, and a massive manhunt goes, and I'm at work, I'm at my desk, and I get word that another state trooper got shot on the SWAT team. And I start calling Dave's phone. Brink, it's Dave. Somebody got shot on the SWAT team, call me back, no answer. Brink, it's Dave. And as I'm saying that, the desk phone rings. I'll vividly remember my buddy Paul, another investigator, answers the phone, and he's like, Dave, and I'm like, yes. He said, Adam's on the phone, Adam Cobb. I'm like, Adam Cobb, I went to college with Adam Cobb, why is he on the phone? I pick up the phone, Adam, what's up? He goes, did you hear about the shooting? I said, yes, I'm trying to get in touch with Brink. And he goes, Dave, I go, why? He goes, it was Brink. And I go, was Brink? He goes, he all right? He goes, no, he didn't make it. April 25th, 2007, I lost my best friend. And I'll never forget, my buddy Paul, my boss, comes up to me, he's behind me, puts his hand on my shoulder. Beyond hysterical, my buddy Paul picks me up and he drives me to the hospital, to where Dave is, about 2.5 hours away. And I get there and I walk and there's tons of state police there, and I said, where is he, where is he? And I remember marching in, and Kristen at the time, I was having troopers basically escort her and get her a ride all the way up from downstate. A trooper picked her up, and another one dropped her, picked her up. But I go in, I go through that room, and I go through that door, and I remember kneeling down, and I remember crying over his body, sobbing that I just lost my best friend in an instant. The only thing that makes me feel good is that he was in a house looking for this guy, and he was in a massive gunfight. And Dave entered a room on the second floor, and I'm not even gonna use his name. The guy was in the opposite corner of the room to a doorway to another room, and they were exchanging gunfire. And Dave entered the room and took 2 bullets to his chest. His vest caught it. And like Dave doesn't surprise me, he went back, he took a knee in the doorway, and he started exchanging gunfire with this guy. But what happened, and to tell you how hard life can knock you down, my friend who I worked out and trained with locally was also on the SWAT team. And sometimes you have to bless and release, and I'll never be angry, but what adds to the story is as Dave's in the doorway shooting at this person, and my other friend is over Dave's shoulder shooting after Dave got 2 shots into his chest. Dave gets up from a knee to take the fight to the fight, which we're trained to do, and my other friend's bullet clips him in the back of the head under his SWAT helmet, and Dave lost his life by my buddy that I worked out with 5 days a week. I can tell you now, I wasn't gonna bring this up, just last week, after 10 years, I spoke to this person again. We had a very